Joining us now to break down the political landscape during the coronavirus pandemic is Boris Epshteyn, an attorney and Republican political strategist. So, Boris, we've seen Michigan become one of the main types of parts of the country where the coronavirus is being debated. We've seen not only Governor Whitmer's response to the pandemic, but we've also seen a lot of protests in the state against her lockdown orders. Do you think that she's handled the situation well?
No, I don't think so. And thanks for having me, Alex. Hope you and your family are staying safe. I do not think that she's done a good job. She's been very focused on her own publicity. Governor Whitmer came out first, said, well, I don't want this publicity. I didn't ask for it. But then she continues to book herself on every show possible, as you just mentioned, including the Comedy Channel show. Comedy Central show. So she's really not done a good job. She's been a little bit of a mess. And if you look at the orders she's given, I mean, not allowing the people of Michigan to use their nurseries, not allowing them to plant the seeds in their home state. It's absolutely ridiculous. She's overstepped, and she has really hurt her chances of becoming Joe Biden's VP nominee.
And I do want to talk about that because for a while, she seemed like the media darling to be the VP on Joe Biden's campaign. Of course, he's committed to picking a woman as the vice president, so that does narrow the list a little bit. But he seemed to be on board with her, and a lot of those in the media also seem to be very fond of her. Does this latest response, not only the protests that have been taking place, but also this latest scandal as well, does that hurt her chances of becoming the VP?
Absolutely. I don't know. Maybe there's a curse of the response to the State of the Union, because as you remember, Governor Whitmer gave that response this year to President Trump's extremely strong State of the Union address. But she has been nothing short of a disaster for the last several months. From this overarching, overstepping stay-at-home order, which was a complete mess. You could still buy things like the Michigan Lotto, but you can't, as I said, plant seeds on your own property, to the scandal that you just gave a very strong rundown on in terms of giving no-bid contracts to friendly, democratic, left-leaning organizations. And then don't forget, she also wore a hat and posted on social media a hat of herself promoting Planned Parenthood during this time. So Governor Whitmer has absolutely hurt herself. And if Joe Biden knows anything about anything, which I'm not sure he does, he will not pick her as the nominee.
Yeah, and you talk about that State of the Union response. Another person, Stacey Abrams, she gave a response a couple years ago, and she's now being touted as a possible VP pick as well. So maybe there's something there. I don't know. But when you look at polling coming out of Michigan, Reuters, Ipsos came out with a poll, Fox News even came out with a poll, showing that Biden does have a slight lead over President Trump in the state of Michigan. Should our viewers put any weight into those polls right now, or is it a little bit too early to have head-to-head matchups?
It's very early, Alex. It's very early. We're also going through a crisis in this country. Now, I'm a supporter of the president's, of course. I'm a member of the Trump 2020 Advisory Board, and I'm proud to have been a senior advisor in the 2016 campaign. So, of course, my perspective is that the president is by far the best position to lead our country through and out of this crisis. But I also believe that the American people are seeing that as well. And this early polling in Michigan doesn't really reflect much because we've got a lot of time left to go. Joe Biden isn't even the official nominee of his party yet. Who knows what's going to happen between now and whenever they do have whatever convention the Democrats will put together.
And I want to talk about this because in the 2016 race, a lot of people would say that the state of Michigan essentially made a referendum against the Obama administration's policies, against neoliberal policies when they voted for President Trump over Hillary Clinton. And now we see Joe Biden as the nominee, who basically exemplifies both of those things, even more so. He was the vice president of that administration. What is the messaging, or what should the messaging be for the Trump administration, Trump campaign, I should say, when it takes on Michigan? Is it an economic perspective once again?
It's economic, it's social, and it's a message of strength. We as America need to be the strongest country in the world, not to pander to the rest of the world. And if you look at what happened in 2016 with Hillary Clinton, President Obama's Secretary of State running, she was another representation of America's weakening. And that's what Joe Biden is as well. Joe Biden doesn't stand for strength. He stands for confused weakness. And that is something that absolutely should be focused on. And let's not forget, the Biden closeness to China, both of his own and of his son Hunter Biden's, who is reported to have gained over $1 billion from China. And we all know that China is the source of this Wuhan virus we're all dealing with right now.
Yeah, and not only did China is the source of all of this, but they covered it up. The World Health Organization parroted that information. And as a result, people across the world are in a terrible position, literally dying. And you can tie that back to some of the policies made even before the Trump administration. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how these two sides play out that narrative, because we already see from campaign ads that that's exactly the fight that's going to be taking place. Boris, I really appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you.